So this is one, again, I like to watch and look at the network and kind of just see what people are doing in the industry, in our network, in our community, that kind of thing, and talk about stuff which might be relevant. It might help them or it might not. The thing that I wanted to talk about is it's the two phases of business that everyone goes through this. And again, you will flip between the two. And basically they are discovery, which is basically about what you do, how you do it. And then likewise do. You could call it execute, but I wanted the D's to match. I don't know why. So in terms of your discovery, basically that's what, how, and then what are your competitors doing? Whenever you start any business or you're thinking about starting a business, really spend a lot of time on the discovery phase, and it's really looking at what do you do, what do you want to do, how do you want to do it, how do you want to execute, what does the market do, all of that kind of stuff. And actually the first 4 to 6 chapters in the book are exactly about this. It's about how to get a feel for what your goals and ambitions are, the skills that you're going to need, how do you set the goal, how do you understand the strategy, how do you look at competitors, how do you set yourself up for success, how do you differentiate, and all of that kind of really good stuff. That's all in the discovery phase, and this is really important. This is often when you first set up, or if your business starts to plateau or lose money, that you actually want to just reevaluate where you are. Once you've done this and actually you have a good feel, so with the roadmap, I know exactly what I'm going to do, how I'm going to execute, and touch some wood, I'm just doing it. But the point is, when you know the plan, you need to just start doing it. You just need to start executing your plan to actually do stuff, make the business work, make it viable, and get cash in. One of the things that you often see, and I've been there, I get it, is that whilst you're still trying to figure this out, it's very easy to get distracted and start chasing lots of different things. But the issue is, if you spread yourself too thin and you're chasing, oh, I could offer this, and I could offer this, and I could launch this, and what about this, and what about new products? You're not actually building any genuine traction in terms of the business, that you never really get anywhere, so you never make any money. And it's basically people get trapped here, that they always want to do new stuff, cool stuff, because they get bored and they don't like to execute. A really good business person basically knows when they have a good plan, just execute against it and don't get distracted. This is where I'm at now, and realistically it might be for the next year or so. It's still really important to keep looking at the market, keep learning, to keep tweaking, but actually don't get distracted. One of the issues when people often feel that they're not selling enough or not kind of making as much progress as they think is that they're stuck in the discovery phase. They're constantly looking for some magical bullet that's kind of going to make things better, when often they need to come up with a plan but then actually do it. And it was something I wanted to kind of talk about. But again, the mentality should change over time. So I'm just going to grab a different pen. I'm going to go purple. So when you actually start to execute, when you first launch, I'm going to do a bit of a graph. Almost have the mindset, and I like sports analogies, as if you're going to do a 10K. And basically what you're trying to do, you basically, when any business starts up within the first year or whatever your runway is of cash before you run out, you need to figure out how do you get across that line as quickly as possible to profitability. That's where you're looking at, where the point where you stop losing money and you're generating cash. When you first start a business, that is super, super important. And the reason why people often go bust or don't make it is they spend too long discovering and not actually running the race. So they're doing too much planning and not actually making any progress, that at some point they kind of run out of cash and that's it. Then you fast forward, so you get to profitability, which is fantastic. Actually, what that then does, it gives you more headroom and more time to really develop the business. Then you can almost, take more time to figure out what do you want to do longer term. And then I'd almost treat it like a marathon, where, you know that if you were going to have to do the London Marathon next year, you would prep, you would take your time when you start the race, you wouldn't rush, you wouldn't just sprint the first 100 meters, then be gone after a mile. You take your time, and that's also true in business, that you need to be slow, steady, look after your cash, take your time. And that's really, really important. But all of that is actually part of executing your plan. That if you know your strategic goal and how you sit against competitors and where you want to be, just take your time and slowly work on it. Yes, keep learning, but don't kind of get distracted. And then when you get to a really good point, so almost where I'm now, it's almost the ultra marathon level that, I'm 39 now. It was my birthday last week. This is kind of what I want to do for the next 20 years. And even then, I'll only be 59. That actually, realistically, it could be the next 30 years. So, it's that mindset of, I was there when I first set up, that actually I had to do the 10K sprint to kind of make profit and actually kind of turn that corner as quick as I could. For me, it took about 6 months. I think that's quite common, where basically you set up, you start to tell people, this is what I do, you can hire me, etc. And it's to get that regular recurring revenue, which actually makes you stable and profitable, is the most important thing for anyone that starts up in business. But once you get to that point, once you get a little bit more established and people start to find you, if you actually realize that it's what you love doing, it's what you want to do for the rest of time, the mindset can shift, as long as you still have to look after your customers and make sure the money comes in. But I now have the kind of 10-year, 30-year mindset with this. That, going back to my previous point on finance, because I want to do this for a long time and I want to do it properly, the decisions that I can make, and it's the whole essence of strategy, is to help guide the decisions that you can make, are different. But don't get distracted if you want to launch your own business and constantly just flitting between different things, because actually, unless you start to do the grind, start to put the miles in and start to do those steps to work towards your goal, you're just going to tread water and not go anywhere. And that's often when people give up. So business is hard, business is difficult. With the roadmap, we do give you the complete plan to help you figure out how to do this. But the one bit that nobody else can do for you is to actually execute, to actually have the plan, have your lead actions, and start working towards it. If you catch this on YouTube or any other channels, please like and subscribe. I love it if you kind of get in touch. My name's Steve Pugh, and always drop a comment as well, and I'd love to kind of respond as well.